How to handle your social anxiety and find that social confidence that deep down you know you have within you. Hey, it's Mark here from Making Yours, and today I'm talking about a topic that I'm so passionate about. This was something that I had to do huge work on in myself. And I can tell you when I did, it was one of the most rewarding things I ever did with my life. Today I want to give you a 4-step plan of how to do that, and one particular step that everyone leaves out, which is the reason that they don't succeed with forming social confidence and getting out there. Now, if you've come to this video, it's likely because you either have an event coming up soon, or you might, like me, have a more general social anxiety that you just want to push through. So here's the 4 steps to making that happen. Number 1 is plan for your exposure. So you need to get out there and be exposed to that which makes you anxious, to find confidence in that which makes you anxious. There's no instant cure for social anxiety, well, certainly none that leave you sober. And if you're serious about changing this aspect of your life, eventually you have to go from I can't handle it to I can. And you're going to need to be exposed for that to happen. Now, the good news is you can make the plan of this. So you can do really intense exposures, you can do more exposures, you can do less exposures, you can even start with just mental exposures. Powerful visualization works, and that can be your first form of practice. Whatever it is, you've got to get out there and start that exposure. So with clients, I would create a plan with them. It doesn't matter how long the process takes. You might want to go quickly or more slowly. What's important is that you're taking those action steps, whatever they mean to you. Number 2 is congruency with your values. Now, this is one that a lot of people skip, but one of the issues people have when they want to conquer their social anxiety is it seems like a nice idea, but they don't really like doing it. The motivation isn't there. They kind of have to force themselves, a bit like someone who doesn't want to go to the gym, forcing themselves to go to the gym. This is just like the social gym. So what I like to do with clients is line it up with their values. Let's say they have social anxiety, but they would rather just play board games. They just love playing board games, that's their thing. What I will help them do then is once they've created their plan, or once you've created your plan, figure out the stuff that you love to do, not the socially anxious stuff, and line up in your mind how doing the socially anxious stuff is going to help you do more of that thing. So for example, if you do love playing board games, figure out how getting out there to meet more people and really achieve these goals is going to allow you to play more board games. If you want to spend more time working on your business and growing your business, figure out how getting out there and meeting more people is going to improve your business. That's going to give you the real kick of motivation to stick to your plan rather than forcing yourself like an unwanted gym schedule. Hey, if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure you've hit that big red subscribe button with the little bell so you get the notifications for next videos. And while you're watching, download the 12 texts to make him yours and the first chapter of my book. Both are available from the links in the description below. Number 3, step 3 is to get out there. Now, this sounds simpler than it is. And I know the anxious mind, when you have this, because it's been in here, will tell you, hey, there's going to be awkward silences, and then you're going to get rejected, then everyone's going to laugh at you, then you're going to feel like absolute nothing, and then no one's going to want to be your friend, and there's this huge calamity of circumstances that proceed on that we imagine when we're anxious. When you get out there, here's what happens. Those first 1 or 2 things, they might actually happen. There might be some awkward silences, you might get some rejections. And then the rest of the stuff, the big stuff, having no friends, everyone laughing at you, all the calamity stuff that your mind likes to imagine, that shit never happens. So by getting out there, what you teach your mind is basically, hey, you know what? That 1 or 2 anxious things, the rejection, that can happen. And life goes on. I experienced this a lot when I was going out. I found those little things that I was scared of, do you know what? It was pretty awkward. They did actually happen. And life went on. The rest of the stuff that I'd imagined, all the big calamities, none of it happened. And I was actually able to handle the small stuff when I was out there because it didn't lead to anything big. Which brings me to point number 4, which is your self-approval. And I can't emphasize this enough. If you don't do this step, you will fail the whole process. In fact, you might actually make your anxiety worse. The key is not just exposure, lining it up with your values and getting out there. The big key is how you treat yourself for doing so. Because what most people with social anxiety do is they go out, they meet someone, they find the courage, there's an awkward silence. As I said, some of that stuff does happen, or they get rejected, whatever. And then they go home, They replay it 48,000 times in their mind, and they beat themselves up every single time. The net result is that they feel like absolute shit for taking action in their life. And that is the opposite of the success habit that you must have if you're serious about beating your social anxiety. It's not just about getting out there. It's not just about having a plan and actioning on it. It is about the way you treat yourself when you do. Because if you can go home after a few awkward moments, after maybe getting rejected or having an awkward silence with a guy, whatever, and then go home and treat yourself like a queen, you will crush this process. This is what it's really about. It's about rewarding yourself for the action taken and rewarding yourself every time you go into anxiety, whether it's a self-high five, a hug, a bath, whatever you do, you should be feeling amazing about yourself when you go into your anxiety and take action. Whether you get a few rejections and some awkward silences or whether you meet some great guys, doesn't matter. Train yourself. This is the most important circuit. Like I say, if you get this wrong, the rest of the process crashes. You've got to train yourself to feel good every time you take action. And for me, this was the biggest part of the process because every time I'd go out, create some awkward moments, get rejected lots, I'd go home and say, Mark, you know what? I'm really proud of you. And that's what allowed me to have that self-love, keep going out there. And that's what allows my clients to keep going out there and find these skills and obviously eventually get the results. And if they want it, the relationship. So that is how to conquer your social anxiety. You've got to get that exposure. You can start in here and eventually you've got to get it out there. Then line it up with your values so that you want to do it. Then get out there and find, you know what, maybe some of the small bad stuff does happen, but none of the big stuff does. And most importantly, what you do when you get home will determine your success. Do you beat yourself up or do you congratulate yourself? That is the video. That is how to conquer your social anxiety. Let me know your thoughts, comments, questions, everything in the space below. I'd love to hear it. Hit the subscribe button with the little bell as well so you get the notifications for future videos. And don't forget to download the free things that I've got for you in the description. We've got the first chapter of my book available and we've got the 12 texts to making yours available in the description too. Thanks again for watching and I'll see you in the next video real soon.